J-Bone here, and I've got everything you need to know before you watch this weekend's 2025 Miami Grand Prix that just might be the race where the 2025 F1 World Drivers' Championship title fight truly begins. Let's get right into it. J-Bone! The Formula One Miami Grand Prix takes place this weekend at the Miami International Autodrome on the Hard Rock Stadium grounds in Miami Gardens, Miami-Dade County, Florida, United States of America, North America, Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Laniakea Supercluster, Universe, Multiverse. The Miami Grand Prix weekend starts this Friday, May 2nd, and yes, it is once again an F1 sprint weekend just like it was last season, so remember to factor that factoid into your weekend plans. I'm sure everybody watching this is super happy that we have another F1 sprint weekend. Because it's an F1 sprint weekend, Miami Grand Prix Friday will consist of FP1 and sprint race qualifying, Saturday will consist of the sprint race as well as Grand Prix qualifying, and Sunday will consist of the Grand Prix. This weekend's race will mark the 4th ever running of the Miami Grand Prix, which has been held every single year since 2022, so long ago, when it was added to the calendar as the United States' second modern-day F1 race. A fun fact about the Miami Grand Prix is that Max Verstappen would have won every single edition of it ever had it not been for Lando Norris benefiting from a perfectly timed safety car last year that allowed him to nab his first ever F1 victory. More on that later. The Miami International Autodrome is 5.412 kilometers or 3.363 miles in length, and the Miami Grand Prix will be contested over the course of 57 laps around its 19 turns, while the sprint race will consist of 19 laps. This F1 circuit was built on the site of Miami's Hard Rock Stadium, a multi-use sports stadium that's the home field of the Miami Dolphins NFL franchise, as well as the Miami Hurricanes college football team. F1 is in good sports company by putting on an event at Hard Rock Stadium, as this sports complex has also played host to 6 NFL Super Bowls, 2 Major League Baseball World Series, oddly enough, 5 college football national championship games, a Copa America final, and even a WrestleMania.
Are you sure about that?
Now, I've just stated a bunch of Miami International Autodrome facts, but let's be honest, the first thing that comes to mind when you think about the Miami International Autodrome is the fact that the circuit features boats in a fake marina with fake water in a pathetic attempt to try and pretend it's as fancy and lavish a Grand Prix as Monaco. The thing is, while the whole fake marina thing is undoubtedly cringe, at this point it has kind of reached the point of being so lame that it's absolutely awesome. Miami heard the criticism about how cheesy the fake marina was and has now tripled down on it by keeping it for a 4th straight year in a row, and you kind of just have to respect their commitment to the bit at this point. I know I do. Also, when you think about it, being unashamedly fake is probably the most Miami attitude ever. So the whole thing really is just absolutely perfect. In terms of the racetrack itself, the Miami International Autodrome is very varied. A lot of a lap around the Miami International Autodrome is taken flat out by drivers in both qualifying and the race, as Miami contains 2 straights and 1 effective straight, each featuring its own DRS detection line and activation zone. And get a load of this, not 1, but 2 of these rank as some of F1's longest flat-out sections, and they're both at the same circuit, which heavily contributes to how much full throttle racing you will be seeing in Miami this weekend. That being said, when the racing is not full throttle in Miami, it is super technical. There is the S of turns 4 to 6, the double apex turns 7 to 8 complex, the turn 11 to 13 horseshoe, and the very tricky and controversial turn 14-15 chicane that many people think is F1's worst chicane now that Barcelona's Spain chicane is gone, but never forgotten. While turns 11 and 17 are where you'll be seeing the most overtakes due to their placements at the end of the circuit's 2 longest flat-out sections, arguably the most exciting area of the circuit is turn 1, not just because it's where the race start chaos is going to be, but also because drivers will be looking to overtake there at the end of the shortest DRS straight, and they'll be having to get off the racing line to do so, and thus risk locking up in order to get it done. Just ask Checo Perez about how hard this is to do. Before we move on to talking about this weekend's biggest storylines, it would be awesome if you could toss this video a like, because I'm trying to hit 6,000 likes on it so that YouTube likes me, J-Bone, more, and shows my race previews and recaps to more people this season than last season. It is 100% free to like this video, and it truly does help me out in a big way, so thank you for your consideration. J-Bone! Alright, here are your storylines to follow for the 2025 F1 Miami Grand Prix. Your first storyline is Oscar Piastri's Formula One hot streak about to come to an abrupt end? McLaren F1 team driver Oscar Piastri is on an absolute tear right now. He's won 3 of the last 4 Grand Prix, becoming the first driver not named Max Verstappen nor Lewis Hamilton to win 3 out of 4 races since 2016 when Nico Rosberg did it. However, there's a catch. The next race up is this weekend's Miami Grand Prix, and not only has Oscar Piastri never had a good Miami Grand Prix weekend, he's never even had a decent one. Oscar has finished P19 and P13 in the 2 Miami Grand Prix he has under his belt, which is not great, especially for a driver who's hoping to extend the first F1 World Drivers' Championship lead of his career this weekend and not lose it. Additionally, Oscar's 2 biggest rivals in terms of fighting for a race win this weekend in Miami, Max Verstappen and Lando Norris, well, they're the only 2 drivers to ever win a Miami Grand Prix, which does not bode well for Oscar's chances. However, the Oscar that we've been seeing thus far this season looks like a different animal than the Oscar of the last 2 seasons, so it's entirely possible that Oscar follows up that P19 and P13 with a P1 this weekend in Miami. Do you think Oscar Piastri will continue his hot streak by winning the Miami Grand Prix this weekend despite his bad track record there, no pun intended? Let me know in the comments. Your second storyline is Lando Norris about to replicate last season's Miami Grand Prix magic. For the first time this season, Lando Norris is not your Formula One World Drivers' Championship leader headed into a race weekend. That title belongs to Lando's McLaren teammate Oscar Piastri, whose race win in Saudi Arabia, paired with Lando's P4 result there, made it so that Lando now trails Oscar by 10 points in the Drivers' Championship. However, you could argue that there's no better race for Lando to have in front of him right now to hopefully use to catapult himself back into first place in the Drivers' Championship than this weekend's Miami Grand Prix. Why? Because last season in Miami, Lando Norris had easily his most memorable F1 race ever that featured him extending his stint, getting the safety car that everyone who extends a stint prays for, and converting that good fortune into his maiden F1 win after so many close calls for him and all the pressure of the world on his back. This season, Lando has a significantly quicker car, but even more pressure on him as he still targets a World Drivers' Championship. So my question for you is this: do you think Lando can pull off some more Miami magic this weekend? Let me know in the comments. Your third storyline is bad weather going to turn the F1 Miami Grand Prix into a cesspool of chaos. As of the time of this recording, there is rain in the forecast for Grand Prix Sunday at the Miami Grand Prix. With Miami already being a low-grip circuit with narrow track limits due to its status as a non-permanent street-style circuit, the addition of rain could very well turn it from a Formula One race into a bumper car festival taking place in the middle of winter on a frozen lake. With how close the cars at the front of the grid are right now and how much rain would affect racing at the Miami International Autodrome, if we do get rain in Miami on Sunday, some absolutely crazy results are in play, such as, but not limited to, the following: a Kimi Antonelli win, a Yuki Tsunoda win, a Pierre Gasly win, an Isaac Hadjar podium, and maybe even a Haas podium or win, or they go 1-2. Okay, I do have Haas delusion syndrome. I want to get ahead of that. But that does not mean I'm wrong there. All that is to say that the Miami weather forecast is worth watching from now through the Grand Prix. Your final storyline: I am once again considering boycotting this weekend's F1 Miami Grand Prix, and you should be too. Here's why. Ever since the Miami Grand Prix first came into existence back in 2022, I have been begging and pleading with race organizers to please make the Miami International Autodrome's circuit go through Hard Rock Stadium instead of just around it. Doing so would immediately create the second best grandstand complex in all of Formula One, only behind Mexico's Foro Sol grandstand, which of course cannot be beaten. Think about it though. The people of the United States are all about stadium sporting events, and the ability to turn Formula One into one this easily should not be repeatedly passed up, as it would just be a match made in heaven and create an electric American motorsport atmosphere, ideally similar to that of Bristol Motor Speedway. However, not only do Miami's race organizers continue to not listen to me year after year after year by not doing this, as they instead use the inside of Hard Rock Stadium as the paddock, but imagine the look on my face when I saw that some of the preliminary designs for a potential upcoming F1 race in Cape Town, South Africa have their circuit going through DHL Stadium. My face looked something like this. I am not going to sit by and let some other F1 race beat Miami to the punch here after I've already done all this advocacy work for years, okay? I will give you one last chance, Miami Grand Prix organizers. Let's go racing inside Hard Rock next year, or I could be out of your race altogether. Comment, let's go racing inside Hard Rock if you're with me. All right, before we get to my 3 eagerly anticipated bona fide race predictions for the 2025 F1 Miami Grand Prix, I have an entirely new segment for you. Here are J-Bone's Miami Grand picks for the Miami Grand Prix, brought to you by Grid Rivals Picks Game. Grid Rivals Picks Game gives race fans like you and me the chance to turn our F1 knowledge into money simply by making correct race predictions on the Grid Rival app, and here are my Grid Rival picks for the Miami Grand Prix that I am hoping to turn into some cold hard cash. My first Miami Grand Prix pick is Lando Norris to finish P5 or better. I am not sure why Grid Rival is even giving this absolute lock to us, but they are, so take advantage before they change their mind. My second pick is Yuki Tsunoda to finish P8 or better. Yuki finished P7 in Miami last season in a V-Carb, so P8 or better in a Red Bull should be easy for him, right? My third pick is Max Verstappen to finish 8 or more positions ahead of Carlos Sainz. Williams have always struggled in Miami, and Max has always excelled there. And my final pick is Lance Stroll to finish within 10 positions of Lewis Hamilton. This is more an indictment of Lewis's current form than any sort of praise for Lance Stroll. If all 4 of these hit, I'll be turning $5 into $50. A bone can dream. Whether you want to follow my Grid Rival Miami Grand Prix picks, do the exact opposite of them because you think I'm wrong, or make your very own, you can get a $100 deposit match when you use my code BONE on the Grid Rival app, which you can download through the unique download link in the description now. Terms and conditions and age and location restrictions apply, and lines may have changed since this recording. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for. Here are my 3 bona fide race predictions for the 2025 F1 Miami Grand Prix. After the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, I am currently at 7 for 15 on the season with my predictions, which means yes, I am currently on track to become L-bone if I do not get back above 50% before the second half of the season starts. I am hoping to avoid that by making some great Miami predictions right now. J-Bomb! My first prediction is that Lando Norris will win the Miami Grand Prix. Undoubtedly, the greatest moment of Lando Norris's Formula One career and life came at last season's Miami Grand Prix. There, thanks to an immaculately timed safety car caused by American hero Logan Sargent in America, Lando was able to get the monkey off his back and finally win a Formula One race, shedding his awful record of being the F1 driver who had the most career podiums without a win all time. I think that this positive association that Lando has with Miami, plus his super fast car, plus the fact that his McLaren teammate and current championship leader Oscar Piastri has never finished higher than P13 in Miami, will power Lando to his first race win since the first race of the season. My second prediction is that Yuki Tsunoda will have his best result of the season at the Miami Grand Prix. That crash with Gasly that caused Yuki to DNF at the most recent F1 race in Saudi Arabia aside, Yuki's getting better with each race weekend since switching to Red Bull racing from V-Carb as he continues to get more comfortable in the car. This, paired with how Yuki was able to finish P7 in Miami last season in a V-Carb, has me feeling confident that Yuki will pull off a P8 result or better this weekend. My third prediction is that Max Verstappen will finish ahead of championship leader Oscar Piastri at the Miami Grand Prix. This one's just easy for me. Max has always absolutely dominated in Miami and would have won every single race there had it not been for that safety car last season. And Oscar has never finished in the points in Miami. So even though Oscar is the current championship leader, I think Max bests him in Miami like he very well may have bested him in Saudi Arabia 1 race ago if Max had not gotten that 5-second penalty. Now for the most important part of this video, okay? What are your predictions for the 2025 Miami Grand Prix? Let me see them in the comments. And last but not least today, here's my prediction for the top 5 finishers in the 2025 Miami Grand Prix with zero reasoning nor explanation. P5, George Russell. P4, Charles Leclerc. P3, Oscar Piastri. P2, Max Verstappen. And P1, Lando Norris. Toss me a subscription now and ring that notification bell so that you'll get my Miami Grand Prix recap video next week right when it drops. And while you're doing that, do not forget to like this video so that YouTube likes J-Bone more. Special shout out to my top YouTube channel members, Joe Max's number 1 hater Snow, Brian Linton, Wolfslow's Racing, Waffleopicus, Melissa Cruz, Amar Zuber, and David Hake. Mash that join button just below this video to get your name shouted out right here in future videos. And if you want to join the 1,000 plus F1 fans in the free to join Formula Bone Discord community, you can go do that right now through the join link in the description. Until next time, folks, J-Bone! J-Bone!